Veronica, a single mother, struggled to make Christmas special for her little daughter Molly, her heart heavy with worry. Little did she know that her simple act of kindness at a bus stop, offering a seat to a lonely old black man whom others rejected, would bring an unexpected miracle into her life. The next day, a stranger dressed as Santa Claus, carrying expensive gifts, knocked on her door. Hello everyone, welcome to Narrative Whispers. Today I'm going to share another heartwarming story, so let's dive into it. It was snowing outside. Veronica, a single mother and a dedicated preschool teacher, was getting ready on that freezing morning. She had to prepare for her job while also waking up her little daughter, Molly, for school. She hurried as much as possible, just like every other morning. After getting ready, she walked into Molly's room and pulled open the curtains. The soft morning light filled the space, but before she could say anything, Molly's sleepy voice broke the silence. "Mom, please let me sleep for just 20 more minutes. It's so cold," she murmured, curling deeper into her blanket. Veronica smiled gently and sat beside her. "My little princess, we have to get you ready for school. Aren't you excited? Your Christmas holidays are just around the corner. Come on, darling, today's the last day." But as soon as she said this, Molly's expression changed. The excitement she had hoped for wasn't there, only sadness. Veronica knew exactly why. A deep ache settled in her heart as well. It was because of the man of the house, the one who had once filled their home with warmth and laughter. Veronica's husband, Molly's father, had been a brave Army general commander. His duty had always been to protect the country, and 2 years ago, during a fierce border conflict, he made the ultimate sacrifice. Since then, a silent emptiness lingered in their lives, an absence that neither time nor words could fill. "Hey, darling, I know you miss your father," Veronica said softly, pressing her forehead against Molly's. She gently stroked her daughter's hair and continued, "But listen to me. He is always here with us. And you know what? He would never want you to be sad. After all, you are his little princess, right? And mine too." A pure, beautiful smile lit up Molly's face as she hugged her mother tightly. Veronica wrapped her arms around her daughter, holding her close, but as she did, her own eyes filled with tears. She blinked them back, unwilling to let Molly see her pain. It wasn't easy. Every day was a battle. She tried to be a strong mother, working harder than ever to provide for both of them, but deep down she knew it still didn't feel like enough. After a while, she helped Molly get ready for school. Once everything was set, she locked the house, took Molly's tiny hand in hers, and they stepped out into the cold morning. It was December 24th. Snow was falling heavily, covering the streets in a thick white blanket. The air was crisp and biting, but they walked together, hand in hand, towards the nearby bus stop. As they reached the bus stop, there were still a few minutes left before the bus arrived. The usual familiar faces were there, parents dropping off their children or catching the bus for work. But today, as Veronica sat with Molly, her eyes caught someone new. An elderly black man, around 69 years old, walked toward the bus stop and stood quietly at the corner. He held onto the support stand, his posture slightly bent with age. The benches were full, leaving him with no place to sit. Veronica's gaze lingered on him. She could see how difficult it was for him to stand. His frail body swayed slightly, and his hands gripped the pole tightly for support. He didn't ask for a seat, nor did he look around for help. She glanced at her watch, still a few minutes before the bus arrived, but her thoughts weren't on the time anymore. They were stuck on the elderly man, standing there in the cold, silently enduring. Just then, Molly added, "Mom, that man looks like he needs help. I think we should offer him our seat." Hearing such a kind gesture from her daughter towards someone in need, Veronica couldn't resist. She looked at her daughter and said, "Molly, wait here for me. I'll be right back. Save this seat." Molly nodded, and Veronica walked over to the elderly black man. She approached him and said, "Sir, it's so cold here, isn't it?" The old man looked at her and nodded. She continued, "I can see from over there that it's not very comfortable to stand here. So, if you'd like, you can have my seat. I've been sitting and waiting for a while now." Veronica spoke in a way that made the gesture feel like a kindness, not a burden. He looked at her, and she smiled as he did. The old man replied, "That's okay, thank you. Don't judge me by my age, young lady." Veronica knew he was refusing her help, but she didn't turn back. Instead, she pointed toward Molly and said, "See, that's my little daughter, Molly." Molly waved at her mother. The old man saw the child, and the innocence in her smile softened his heart. Veronica continued, "She's very young, and she's saving this seat for one of us. She insisted that I convince you. Would you really want to disappoint such a small child's wish?" The elderly man couldn't say no now. He walked toward the bench and sat down. Molly smiled at him, and the old man noticed her sparkling eyes. He could feel the happiness she was experiencing, and it seemed priceless to him. As he thought to himself, "Do people really feel happy by helping others?" The man sitting next to him suddenly stood up, making a disgusted face. "You pathetic blacks! I don't want to sit near you, I'd rather stand," he sneered. People around them exchanged looks. Some nodded in agreement. Others smiled sarcastically as though enjoying the drama. Veronica felt a wave of sympathy for the elderly man. When the man stood up, Veronica immediately took his seat, almost as if ignoring the person who had just left. The elderly man lowered his gaze as though he had expected this, and it wasn't the first time. "Sir, please don't mind people like that," Veronica said gently. "You sit comfortably. His seat is mine now, see? It's not a waste." She chuckled, trying to lighten the situation. Soon, Molly's school bus arrived, and Veronica waved as her daughter boarded. As the bus drove off, most of the people left to drop their children off. Veronica then realized she needed to catch her own bus to the preschool where she worked. She returned to her spot by the old man, glancing at her watch. It was still a while before her bus would arrive. Suddenly, her eyes fell on the old man's hands. They were trembling. Concerned, she asked, "Sir, are you okay?" The old man didn't reply. Veronica hesitated, thinking to herself, "Maybe I'm disturbing him. I should just keep quiet." After a minute, her bus arrived. She boarded and glanced back at the old man still sitting on the bench. As the bus pulled away, Veronica thought, "I don't think another bus is coming. Why is he still sitting there?" A wave of confusion and concern washed over her. As Veronica began her day as a dedicated teacher, the thought of the elderly man slowly faded from her mind, and she shifted her focus to Molly. She started thinking about a Christmas present for her daughter. Veronica had been saving money for a while to buy Molly the beautiful talking doll she had been asking for, but she couldn't manage to get it. Her savings had been spent on paying bills, Molly's school fees, vehicle expenses, and all the other necessities of life. The condolence money she received after her husband's passing had all gone into ensuring Molly could attend a good school and receive a proper education. Now, Molly was 5 years old, and the holidays had become harder for her. She missed her father deeply and felt the absence even more during these festive times. Veronica wanted to make the holidays full of joy for Molly. Now she was both her mother and father, and she wanted to give her little girl the happiness she deserved. "Finally, today is payday. After school, I'll go to the toy store and buy my princess her favorite doll," Veronica thought, feeling a little excited. She was getting her salary just before the Christmas holidays, and today felt like a special day. Finally, she could fulfill her daughter's wish. After receiving her salary, she took the bus home as usual, eagerly looking forward to stopping by the toy store near her house. She wanted to buy the doll before Molly's school bus arrived, so she could keep it a surprise. But as soon as she stepped off the bus, her eyes froze on the same elderly man. He was still sitting on the bench, exactly where she had last seen him. Same posture, same expression, and his hands were still trembling. Veronica stood still, shocked and surprised. Slowly, she walked toward him and gently asked, "Sir, have you just come back from somewhere?" The old man looked up at her weakly and said, "No, I'm waiting for somebody." Veronica's eyes widened in shock. Are you saying you've been waiting here since morning? The old man nodded, his face filled with disappointment and patience. Veronica sat beside him, keeping a respectful distance. Sir, are you all right? Can I help you in any way? Please, she asked gently. The old man looked at her and asked, Aren't you uncomfortable talking to a black man? Veronica immediately replied, No, not at all, sir. It's humanity to help each other. It doesn't require a specific color or culture. The old man's eyes widened in shock as he processed her words. This woman had not only helped him and offered him a seat, but now she was also asking if she could do more for him. His eyes filled with tears. As Veronica started to lose hope that the old man would accept her help, he finally spoke. I've been waiting for my son. He told me he would be back soon. Hearing this, Veronica said, I know you must be eager to see him, like all parents, but you could have waited for him at home. He will be back. The old man looked at her with tired eyes and said, Yes, I should have gone home, but the home doesn't exist. Veronica's heart broke as she heard this. She couldn't comprehend the depth of his patience and sorrow. She now understood. This man had no home, and his son had left him here, just like those who treat their parents as a burden. Sir, I'm so sorry. I never wanted you to feel this way. She took a few steps away, lost in thought. Then, she pulled out the salary package she had just received and placed it on the bench. Sir, I don't know how you've been managing without a home, without anyone to support you. This is something I can give. I know it's not enough, but please, I would be glad if you accept it. Don't think of it as a burden, but as a Christmas gift. The old man couldn't believe what had just happened. This woman, who was about his son's age, had met him only this morning, and now she was ready to give her entire salary to a black man she didn't even know. But I can't take this, he stammered. Veronica interrupted. Please, sir, think of me as your daughter, if not your son. The old man hesitated. This is a lot, dear. I know this matters to you. How will you manage? I don't... Before Veronica could answer, she noticed Molly's school bus arriving. The old man saw it too. Molly came running to her mother and hugged her tightly, then waved at the old man. Veronica held Molly's hand and smiled at him. As they started walking away, she turned back and said, I live 2 streets away, and my name is Veronica. Please join us if you want, sir. Merry Christmas. With a warm smile, both mother and daughter walked home. The old man stood up and watched them disappear into the distance. To him, they seemed like angels, so pure, so kind. On the other side, Veronica had given up the idea of buying a doll for Molly. Helping someone in need was more important to her. It was Christmas the next day, and Veronica felt a little sad. She couldn't buy Molly the doll she had been asking for, and it weighed heavily on her heart. But she decided to at least bake her a small Christmas cake. She kissed Molly's forehead as she slept peacefully and quietly got up. Wanting to have the cake ready before Molly woke up, she freshened up and headed to the kitchen. As she started gathering ingredients, she realized she couldn't find the packet of flour. Searching everywhere, she sighed in frustration. There was none left. Without wasting time, she grabbed her wallet and hurried toward the door to buy some. But as soon as she opened it, she froze in shock. A man stood at her doorstep, dressed as Santa Claus with a white beard and mustache. Veronica blinked in confusion. Who could this be? Before she could say anything, the man broke the silence. He slowly removed the fake mustache and beard and smiled warmly. Hello, young lady. Merry Christmas. Nice to meet you again. Veronica's eyes widened in surprise as she recognized him. It was the same old black man from yesterday, the one she had invited to join them for Christmas if he wanted. A big smile spread across her face. Oh, hello, sir. I wasn't expecting you. I'm so happy to see you here. Please, come inside. She stepped aside, welcoming him warmly. As he walked in, he asked excitedly, Where is little Molly? I wanted to surprise her. Veronica's smile faltered slightly, and she looked down. She's still sleeping. I didn't wake her up. There was sadness in her voice, but she didn't say anything more. The old man spoke gently. But it's Christmas, children's favorite time of the year. Veronica sighed and nodded. I know, And now, more than ever, I wish to make it Molly's favorite too, but her voice trailed off, and worry flickered across her face. Seeing her troubled expression, the old man said kindly, "If you don't mind sharing, you can tell me. Maybe I can help." Veronica hesitated for a moment before finally speaking. "It's nothing, just she misses her father a lot, ever since he's been gone forever." She took a deep breath and continued, He was a soldier, and you know the sacrifices they make." She picked up a photo frame from the table and handed it to the old man. "This is my husband, Harold." As soon as the old man looked at the photograph, his eyes widened in shock. Now he understood. Veronica's kindness toward him was not just kindness, it was who she was. Her husband, too, was a black man, a respected and dedicated soldier who had served his country with honor. Veronica continued, her voice soft and heavy. "It happened 2 years ago. Since then, this house has been so silent." The old man nodded in sympathy, his heart aching for her. "I'm sorry," he said sincerely. "I must say, you are a wonderful parent." But Veronica shook her head, her eyes filled with self-doubt. "No, I don't think so. I feel like I'm not doing enough. I couldn't even buy her the toys she really likes. They're so expensive. And now, look at me. I forgot to buy flour. I can't even bake her a cake for Christmas." Her voice cracked as tears welled up in her eyes. "She'll be awake soon, and I have nothing. No surprise, no gift, nothing to make her happy today." She lowered her head, a soft sob escaping her lips. But what she didn't know was that something was about to happen, something that would change her life forever. Silence filled the room. Then the old man spoke gently. "I must say, I understand your pain." Veronica looked at him, confused. He continued, "I came here to tell you something. Yesterday, I was waiting at the bus stop for my son, because 5 years ago, I said goodbye to him at that very spot. He left for Boston to pursue his dream, promising me that after 5 years after his graduation, he would return home with his degree and a smile." The old man took a deep breath, his eyes filled with sorrow. But life is so cruel. A few months after he got there, a devastating earthquake struck Boston, and just like that, life took him away from me. I lost my son that day. Veronica's heart sank. She was in shock, unable to believe what she had just heard. A wave of guilt washed over her as she realized how terribly she had misunderstood him the previous day. The old man went on, "Yesterday, those 5 years had finally passed. I went there just to imagine how it would have been if he had really come back as promised, with that smile on his face. How happy life would have been." Tears welled up in Veronica's eyes. I'm so sorry. I completely misunderstood, sir. I thought you didn't have a home, so I—" The old man interrupted with a kind smile. "I know, dear, and I respect that. I am grateful you tried to help someone in need. If anyone else had been in your place, they might have just ignored me," he sighed. "But the truth is, I don't really have a home, not without my son. Now, it's just a place, a house made of bricks and furniture. It doesn't mean anything to me anymore." At that moment, Veronica noticed something she had missed before, the bag the old man had brought with him. He reached inside and pulled out the very same salary package Veronica had given him the day before. "Please take this back," he said, holding it out to her. "I don't have the words to thank you for what you and your little daughter did for me yesterday. When I was completely shattered, you gave me hope." Veronica was overwhelmed. Tears streamed down her face as she gently took the package and placed it on the table. She couldn't find the words to respond, but her grateful smile said it all. Just then, a sleepy little voice interrupted the moment. "Are you the real Santa Claus?" Veronica and the old man turned to see Molly standing there, rubbing her eyes with excitement. Instantly, they both put on warm smiles. The old man quickly adjusted his mustache and beard and, with a playful twinkle in his eye, said in a deep voice, "Yes, little Molly, I am the real Santa. Ho, 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 Merry Christmas! Molly's face lit up with pure joy as she ran to her mother and hugged her tightly. Mom, you called Santa for me? You're the best. A bright, genuine smile spread across Veronica's face, and in that moment, seeing Molly's happiness, she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time: peace. Then the old man reached into his bag and took out a present. Molly's eyes widened with excitement as she tore off the wrapping paper. As soon as she saw what was inside, her face lit up with pure joy. Mom, look, it's the same doll I wanted so badly, she squealed, hugging it tightly. Thank you so much. It's a wonderful Christmas. Thank you, dear Santa. Veronica couldn't hold back her tears. She quickly wiped them away, trying to compose herself. As Molly happily played with her new doll, both Veronica and the old man watched her with warm smiles. After a moment, Veronica turned to him and asked, But how did you know she wanted that doll? The old man chuckled softly. I just bought what my instincts told me. I think it's really Christmas magic. Both of them smiled. For Veronica, it was a moment of realization. Kindness always finds its way back in ways more beautiful than one can ever imagine. After a long time, both Veronica and Molly were truly happy on Christmas, all because of the old man they had helped, without expecting anything in return. Veronica looked at him with gratitude and said, Sir, thank you for everything. The old man smiled warmly. I am Hector, and if not a son today, I have found a daughter. I will now take responsibility of you and Molly, and you don't have to worry about anything from now on. His voice was full of kindness and hope. He continued with a sigh. I may be wealthy, but without a family, I think I am the poorest man in this world. Veronica looked at him with deep emotion and said, We now are the members of one family, right? Hector's eyes filled with tears as he saw a reflection of his lost son in Veronica's eyes. He turned to look at Molly, who was playing happily, her laughter filling the room. Wiping his tears, he smiled and said, So today's Christmas celebration is on me, and there will be many more to come. That night, 3 lonely hearts found a family in each other. From that day onward, Veronica and Molly often visited old Hector's house, and their bond grew stronger with each passing day. Through this experience, Veronica learned an invaluable lesson. Every act of kindness and compassion, no matter how small, never goes to waste. Sometimes it opens doors to endless love and laughter. Thank you for listening to this story. If you like it, please do not forget to like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next story of Narrative Whispers.